Let's go now to Washington, where war and peace are in the headlines today. President Trump is holding a meeting with his newly formed Board of Peace. This as he weighs possible military strikes against Iran. Today is the first meeting of the board created to oversee the reconstruction of Gaza. President Trump talked about escalating tensions with Iran. Listen.
It went into Iran and it totally decimated the nuclear potential. And when it decimated that, all of a sudden we had peace in the Middle East because there was a black cloud hanging over the Middle East. And if that wasn't done, that cloud would have been there. And countries like Saudi Arabia, countries like Qatar, countries like, nobody could have signed. You would have had that threat. You couldn't have had peace in the Middle East. So now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days.
Let's bring in CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang. Weijia, what else is coming out of the meeting so far?
Well, President Trump already made some news during this first official Board of Peace meeting, saying that 9 members have pledged over $7 billion towards the efforts to rebuild and stabilize Gaza. The president announcing that includes Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, UAE, Morocco, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Uzbekistan, and Kuwait. He also mentioned that several countries are going to be providing military members in order to create a security force there. And so obviously these are the two things that are the center of the agenda today as he talks about the future of Gaza, funding and security. It is notable, though, Mugo, that even though more than 40 countries are participating, some of the U.S.'s key allies are not, and some countries are there just to observe because there is an ongoing concern that there are ambitions for this board to replace the United Nations as the peacekeeping group that is predominantly tasked with ensuring there is peace. But the president continues to tout this as one of his great foreign policy achievements. And so far, he says he has raised over $7 billion toward that effort, and that the U.S. will be supplying $10 billion, although we don't know exactly how or when that will be used. Mugo.
Okay, we shall wait and see. Very interesting, though. I think it's important you mentioned that, looking at the list of those countries, and we don't see any of our European allies there. We know sources tell CBS News that President Trump is weighing strikes on Iran as soon as this weekend. What is the latest on that?
Well, there are contingency plans that are ongoing, and some sources say it could happen as early as this weekend, but we do want to be cautious about that because the president himself has just said in those remarks you played that obviously a diplomatic solution is preferable. And from the very beginning, Mugo, he has said that that would be what he wants in terms of a resolution. But he has also said that he's keeping all options on the table, including military options. But we've heard more tough talk from the president today, saying that if Iran does not make a deal, quote, bad things will happen. He said Iran is a hot spot right now. And as we heard, he said that we should know in about 10 days or so how he will proceed, which of course is different from this very weekend. But you never really know with this president because obviously he's not going to show all of his cards, but we know that there is the potential that there could be military action in the coming days.
Okay, Weijia Jiang outside the White House for us today. Thank you so much.